Party people, what's good? Welcome to the DJ Kenny Parker Show, a special Friday edition. I just got in the crib like a half an hour ago. Um, I decided to jump on, see who was in the building, and of course, uh, Spook Room 4Q, you are first today, my man. James Brown, what up? And Olivier, what up? And anyway, what's up? Harry Cedillo, what's good? Spook Round 4Q. Um, let's see. Spook Round 4Q says, assault that like button. Please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. And please get the book. My brother's name is Kenny. It's in the link in the description below. Of course, I got to show the book every week. The origin story of BDP, plus a lot of other information. Thank you, everybody who checked out the first edition of the SP1200 live. That was fun. We did that on Tuesday. I hope all of you guys had a chance to check it out. There was more discs that I have not finished going through. I was going to try to do it today, Friday, but I got in too late. So maybe we'll do it on Tuesday. I wanted to give everybody a chance to check out the beats that were already on there. And it looks like the piano beat is the winner. I'll get back to that in a second. Let me scroll down a little more. Engage VR YouTube channel. I see the regulars in the building. Gregory Nettis, what up? Abel Valdez. Abel says, just make Fridays official. Fuck it. Yeah, but as it gets warmer, as the summer starts to kick in, I might not be able to be here every Friday. So I'm going to try to do as many Fridays as I can if you guys want to hang out. Let's see. John Walker checking in. John Walker says, piano beat and exclusive for the win. Yeah, it looks like those are the two winners of that batch. Although Homemade got some votes. I don't recognize this name. Oreo 1873. What's up? I just love saying, what's up anyway? You know you're always going to get a shout out here. Shy Scriven, peace to the brother, peace. Sweet Goldilocks, what up? Roz Mel in the building, MMA Crossfire. Q Storm says, big up my guy KP, salute from B-Town. Knicks going down, bro. It's going to be tough for the Knicks. Boston is a complete team, man. But don't let it be close in that fourth. Because Brunson, man, he's really become... Gregory Ness said Luka was horrible on defense, that he got blown by 9 times more than any other NBA player in the playoffs this year. I don't really believe that. I think Luka was bad on defense in some of the games, and I think that is not the reason why the Lakers lost. One of, but not the glaring weakness to me. I thought Luka played great defense in game 2. I see a lot of people criticize with DCCC. To me, sometimes you can play good D and a person scores. That doesn't mean you played bad D. That means somebody scored on you. Now, the times when he got blown by, that's not good. But I was just arguing with my boy Jetta about Luka earlier today. Tough series for the Lakers, man. Congratulations to Minnesota. Dylan Fry says, Tom's River up in here. Big up Tom's River. That's in Jersey, right? Do believe my homegirl from college, Faith, lives in Times River. Um, Oreo says the way the climate has been, you're better off just chilling in the crib. With that being said, 11 to Friday lives. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to rain all this week in New York too. I mean, that's what they do around this time. But I love being outside, man. I just love warm weather and getting outside. I can't get enough of it. Um, but yeah, man, I like the Fridays. We might do some interviews on a Friday either. This is an interesting question. Rasmus Kenny, have you officially met the actor Keith David? No, but I stood next to him, near him. Um, the movie Dead Presidents, my home girl, friend of the channel, and guest on the show, Heather B, had a small piece in the movie Dead Presidents where she pulled the heat out on Keith David. And shout out to Heather for doing her own stunts in that movie. She had a stunt scene, and instead of using a stunt double, Heather did her own stunt, and she had a scene with Keith David, and I went with Heather to the movie shoot up in the Bronx. Shout out to the Hughes brothers, and I saw Keith David there. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but he was like right there. So great question. Um, Michael Ball, Lakers need a big. Yeah. I mean, I think this season for the Lakers, once that trade happened, this season was really whatever happens, happens, but they're really gearing up for next season. Um, they need a big. They need a couple bigs. They'll be all right. Greg Gannett says Kendrick Perkins says Luke is the worst NBA superstar ever because he doesn't play defense. I totally disagree. First of all, Kendrick Perkins. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, it's funny how they could praise you one game and hate you the next game. You ever notice that? That's why I don't like any of these pundits. Everybody knows. Nobody doesn't know anything. You just their guess is really as good as ours. Um, when the Lakers won, when the Lakers go on a winning streak and Luka has 35, it's great. But if they lose, he's the worst ever. I could think of some superstars that's worse. Um, Spook Realm says, "What's your favorite b-ball flicks?" I think somebody asked me this before. Um, I haven't watched many, but I did like. I really liked Blue Chips. I don't know if it's my favorite. Might be my favorite. I really liked Blue Chips. I thought I didn't see it in the movies. I saw it on VHS because in the movies, the trailer, I saw Shaq, and I thought it was just going to be like a jokey movie, but it was actually very serious with a very serious, um, theme. I liked Blue Chips. I liked Hoosers. I liked the fish that saved Pittsburgh. Remember that with Dr. J? I like that. Those would be my top three off the top of my head. Michael Ball says maybe you can help the Lakers. The Lakers will be fine. Um, don't worry about the Lakers this year. Gergen says true, but Magic and Larry tried. Yeah, Magic and Larry didn't play great defense, but Luka tries. So I think Luka tries on defense for 80% of the time. I think he's just not his lateral movement in today's NBA is difficult. He's a point guard. He's a 6'8" point guard. And that's very difficult to guard these guys with these handles these days. I think 80% of the time he tries, he just gets beat. Now there's a 20% of the time where I think he just A guy blows by him too fast and he relies on the big man for help, but there's no big man. So that's when it looks bad. If there was a big man back there blocking shots, we'd have a whole different opinion. And I think if Luka played in the era of Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, it'd be different because he's less ISO ball. Just one guy clearing out, just one guy going ISO. Be way different. Shy Scriven said Blue Chips was dope. It really was. Um, I don't want to give it away for those that haven't seen it, but the trailer did not do justice to what the movie was really all about, in my opinion. Um, MMA says, I think Larry is a better individual defender than Magic. Possibly, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jokic is not a great defender. He's the best player in basketball, but he's not a great defender. He's not a rim protector. He doesn't slide his feet. He's not a great defender, but he does a lot of things, man. Oh, MMA says, I think. Oh, that's not the one I saw. No, I answered that. I saw something else. Jason Wall says, I think the White Shadow is the great basketball show. Yeah, easily the White Shadow is the greatest basketball show. Yo, Coolidge used to dunk mad hard. It seemed like the rest of them dudes were just actors playing, faking like they played basketball, but Coolidge was a real ball player. So was the coach. I think the coach really played college ball. I forgot all about the White Shadow. That was a dope show. Um, Greg Ness says MMA. I agree. Larry Bird was a decent defender. He was. It depended on the matchup. He was very good team defense, very good off the ball steals and all of that stuff. But like one on one, if Larry Bird played in today's era with these guys one on one at the small forward position, they'd be saying the same thing. Larry Bird is great, but he doesn't play any D. And Larry Bird would dominate today, by the way. All Positive says, I don't recognize that name. All Positive Network. What up? Are you new to the channel? Big up. He says, Kenny, you're not watching the fights? No, I don't even know what fights you're talking about. Jokic is a terrible defender, by the way. Yes, he is. And you wouldn't trade him for the world. The other things that he do is so spectacular that you have to surround. That team is built around Joker. The Lakers will be fine. Oreo says, the Fish That Saved Pittsburgh has one of the dopest soundtracks. Yes, sampled many times. And Mace 24 Hours to Live sample is from that soundtrack. Mace sampled it. Red and Meth sampled it. I have that soundtrack, by the way, on vinyl. A couple people sampled from there. Rosmel says Soul in the Hole was dope too. I didn't see Soul in the Hole, but I remember the tournament. I never played in it, but I remember people talking about it all the time. All Positive Network, thank you so much for purchasing the book. I really appreciate it. You said, I remember in your book, you said you laughed at Scott LaRock claiming he could beat you one-on-one. Yes, I did. And I wish I had got a chance to play Scott LaRock too. Please get the book, y'all. Patrick Wise says Larry Bird played the passing lanes well. Great anticipate on defense. Absolutely. He played the passing lanes very well. And he had great defenders around him. Dennis Johnson, Cornbread Maxwell, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish. Guys like that, you have to surround them with people that complement their skill set. That same Luka with the Dallas Mavericks with those bigs, those rim protectors, went all the way to the championship last year. Gregory Ness, I don't think Jokic is the best NBA player. Maybe I'm not feeling his game, but I enjoy Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards. I think they're not even in the same universe as Jokic, but I can see where you'd say that. I think Anthony Edwards had 1.5 great games in this series against the Lakers. Um, let's see. MMA says Larry Bird was also clutch on offense and defense. Yes. Larry, when it was time to make a big play, Larry Bird was, first of all, he's one of the most clutch players of all time. Um, and he has defensive plays in his highlight reel. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not trying to compare anybody to Larry Bird, but yeah. John Walker says team sport. Yes. KP, if KRS focused on basketball, do you think he would have been better than you? That's a great question. The answer is no. um, I'm a little bit taller than him. Uh, and to say if he focused on basketball is hard to say because his only focus in life has been hip hop. That's it. When I say that's it, I mean that's it. We used to play ball a lot though. KRS was a good player, but he just played for fun. And I always say this: I don't know if Chris would have been coachable because I don't know if he didn't have the temperament to have a coach up in his face saying, "Grab a goddamn rebound." Like his temperament wouldn't have allowed that. Like I don't see him lasting. I don't see him getting cursed out by a coach. It wouldn't have worked, in my opinion. Chuck Nice, what up? Um, let's see. I know I'm on my iPad today, y'all. Look at this. Says Allen Iverson also collected a lot of steals in the NBA, was steals leader a few times, I believe. Yeah, and he was considered not a good defensive player, Allen Iverson. They said he gambled too much. Um, he was not considered a great defender. And by today, see, back in the day, I need an echo for that. They didn't have hunting players like you do now. Setting a screen on a player to make, because everybody in the NBA just switches. Nobody fights over screens or anything. You just set a screen and they just switch. It's almost like a dance. And you do that to get the player you want on the to guard the player that you want. And they call that hunting players. And all the teams do it. Um, they would have hunted Allen Iverson ridiculously. 6 feet guard would have been hunted ridiculously and by today's standards. Oreo 1873, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. I really appreciate that. He says, appreciate what you do. Thank you, man. I'm gonna definitely cop the book. Yes, the link is in the description below. Thank you so much, man. The book has everything. All the questions that people ask me on this channel, not all, many, I go into great detail in the book. Um, Once again, for those that's just checking in, we normally do this on a Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the official time of the Kenny Parker Show. But sometimes we do Fridays. I think I'm gonna try to do more Fridays, as many Fridays as I can. And thank you guys last week for checking out the Tuesday. We did a special SP 1200 edition. It's part one because we're gonna do a part two. Um, Thank you for you guys for checking that out. I'm gonna play more beats. I'll play newer beats. I'm gonna get into this playing music because I like to get you guys' opinions until somebody disses me and I'm gonna get mad and stop. No. um, and big up to the Rewind crew who's gonna check this out a little later on. Um, let's see. Let's see. MMA Crossfire said Larry Bird was also a great trash talker. Jordan even said he learned a lot from him. They're saying Larry Bird was the greatest trash talker of all time. That's what I'm hearing from looking at these channels. Um, Papa Sincere says, "Peace, KP. Yeah, I understand your brother's temperament obstructing sports pursuits. Yeah. Um, he only played basketball for fun. But back in the day, KRS Chris, he could dunk with two hands. Um, but he there's no way that he would have been able to be coached, in my opinion. Um, MMA also says Chris Paul is a great small defender. Yes, he is. Great defender and strong. Very strong. Um, that's what helped Chris Paul. He's a great small. He was a rare great because his size and his quickness. Um, Mystic O, what up? I don't recognize that name. Says love from Erie, PA. Big up Erie, Pennsylvania. Marvin Keller says, hey, KP, did KRS study philosophy? Yes, he did. Please pick up the book. It's all in there. Yes, he did, actually, as a kid. Let me see. Spook Realm 4 says, what happened to part two? Yeah, I got in today a little too late to set up everything. So I'm probably, maybe I'll do it on Tuesday. I want to give everybody a chance, even the Rewind crew, to check out the last one so everybody can hear the beats and see what we were doing. Um, but there will definitely be a part two. MMA says also Sidney Moncrief. Sidney Moncrief was an all defensive player. He was like 6'4", though. Guess who says LeBron flopping, crying ass out? He diminishes a little about himself every time. I'm gonna leave that right there, man. We could do a whole special on the pros and cons of LeBron. Um, Never Ed Official says, speaking of this SP stream, I heard the BDP album for the first time a few days ago. Thank you so much for checking that out. Me and Chris did that project in 2000. It came out in 2012. We did it in 2011. Says the production was super on point. Love that raw stripped down shit. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Anthony Gus, what up? Says, did I hear say that Heather B was in the movie Dead President with Larry David, Keith David? I don't recall seeing her. Yes, she pulls out a burner on Keith David in the movie. Go back and check it out. It's right when Keith David and I'm calling him Old Dog, but he wasn't Old Dog. um, when they first became like friends, and he was riding in the car, and he took him with him to pick up some money. Heather was in that scene. Yep. And I was right there. He was chilling with the Hughes brothers. Um, Yeah, we had a chance to chill with the Hughes brothers, who I had already known because they did the videos for Duck Down and 13 and Good the year before. So I had already known them. Let's see. I'm scrolling around. Uh, Charles 13X says the book fired. I can't even read. That's funny. Thank you, Charles 13X. I appreciate it. Um, oh, I know what I wanted to say. Last week, so last Tuesday, somebody asked me what reggae artists did we perform with, and I meant to say David Rodigan. We did a concert with, and I said Cardigan. I don't know why I said Cardigan. I meant Rodigan. Big up to David Rodigan, the legend. Yes, Rosmel says Lorenz Tate. Well, I'm quiet. I keep calling him old dog. Uh, this is interesting. He says, Patrick Watson, KP, I disagree with you. I read the book, and if KRS reached the heights he reached in hip hop based on his beginnings, I think he could have achieved anything he focused on. Well, yeah, yes, I agree with that. I think Chris, anything he focused on, he could have accomplished, but he only focused on one thing in his whole life. And I think hip hop is not a team sport. I think hip hop is a way of individual expression, and you could do it in a group, you could do it amongst other people battling, but it's basically a individual thing for the most part to me. Basketball is a team sport, and you not only do you have to be good individually, but you have to work within a team. And as I mentioned in the book, Harris One was a loner his whole life. um he pretty much did his own thing. I used to drag him around all over the place, and he used to hang with my friends. Um, I was the social one that had Chris going all over the place as kids. He used to hang with my friends, really. And because of that, because of his loner temperament, his individualist mindset, and I don't think he reacts well to screaming. That's why I said I don't know if he would have been a good basketball player. Now, if he put his mind to it, I'm sure he could have. But I don't. Just my opinion. I think um, it would have been difficult for him. To me. Um, Benny Doyle, what up? Long time no see. Says I saw an old YouTube video last week of someone was being disrespectful to KRS in the comment section, and one of our community regulars put dude in his place. Shout out to Charles 13X for being real. Thank you so much. That's dope. I mean, we always get trolls that come on and want to have something to say, even on this channel. And unfortunately, unfortunately, in this social media and YouTube world that we live in, you have to deal with, I'm gonna call them trolls, people with opinions, people coming on a discussion or a video and come in the comment section just to cause dissension and conflict and be toxic and don't add anything to it. Um, and you have to deal with that, and you have to try to be thick-skinned, which I'm not. But you have to try. These people at the end of the day, their opinions don't really mean much. But um, I think that's the toughest part about social media is dealing with trolls, people who say things that they wouldn't say in your face. Absolutely not. Um, it's tough, but that's something that we have to deal with, man. Let's see. John Lee, facts. Heather B. wasn't their president. She was the daughter of the father who owed Keith David money. His character, at least, forgot the movie name. Yeah. Spidey, I think his name is Spider or something. Yes. When I did it, Heather was here on this channel a year ago. We did an interview. I don't know if we brought up dead presidents. Not sure if we brought that up. But yeah, she was on there. Charles 13X says, I don't even remember what I said. Thank you, but it was much appreciated, whatever it was. Um, MMA Crossfire says KG couldn't talk trash to Timmy. Yeah, because Timmy just ignored him, I think. I'm not a big fan of trash talking, uh, but some people just use it, I guess, to get themselves going. It's too much. It reaches a point um, where it just becomes too much. And in this day and age in the NBA, you can't really fight. So you can say whatever you want because it's not really going to be a fight. Now, back in the day, like some of the guys who do all the antics now, KG talked a lot. You see Draymond Green and some of these guys with their antics. I would have loved to see them do these same things in the era of Oakley and Barkley and Xavier McDaniel and Anthony Mason, and even going back to like Daryl Dawkins and the Detroit Bad Boys, and you know, there was real enforcers in the NBA, and they would straight up square up with you and fight. And like sometimes they'll let dudes fight, and then they'll just give each person a tech, and they wouldn't even get thrown out. I mean, the NBA cleaned up a lot of the fighting, which is good, but I think they've really sanitized the league. Every time somebody gets breathed on, it's a whole review that got to stop the game for 5 minutes. MMA says Larry Bird was even able to make Dr. J react. Yeah, the only fight Doc ever had in the NBA was with Larry Bird. Larry Bird was roasting the Doc one night and talking so much trash that the Doc couldn't even take it anymore. Um, Anyway, says 80 people in the chat and 6 likes. Hit the thumbs up. Please, if you're watching, please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. Please do. Um, Spook Realm says, you're doing a great job keeping up this time. You're only moments behind the chat. Thank you. Well, there's a little bit less people on today. And so, yeah, I'm keeping up. But, once I start answering some question mad long, that I fall behind. Florentry, what's good? Happy Friday night. Um, let's see. MMA said a lot of keyboard warriors out there with big thumbs and small brains. I agree. But everybody has a right to their opinion. And, I respect everybody's opinion. That's a lie. I don't respect everybody's opinion. Everybody has a right to an opinion. But when people come on channels just to cause drama, or somebody will come on and go, who cares? I don't care about this stuff anyway. Like, you actually went into the comment section to write who cares. Those kind of people are the worst people to me on earth. Right up there with paparazzi. I hate paparazzi, by the way. Spook Realm says a bunch of jive turkeys. They need to bring that back. I was talking to my friend the other day about that old 70s terms. And jive turkey. If somebody called you a jive turkey back in the 70s, that was real disrespectful. Those was fighting words, a jive turkey. You jive turkey. They should bring that back. Uh, let's see. Yeah, Parsons said Keith Davis' character was named Kirby. Yep. That movie was dope. Dead Presidents was dope, by the way. Let's see if I can get this name right. Mix M I Mix MYT. I'm sorry, I'm butchering. I don't recognize that name, so he must be new to the channel. Big up. Says X-Men. Yes, Xavier McDaniels was tough, man. Kevin Willis. There was some dudes you didn't want no parts of. Dream Elijah Wan. Ah, this is the person I was thinking of him too. Maurice Lucas, the enforcer. His name was the enforcer. Dude, some of these dudes that pull these antics today, you take them and put them in that era, they'd be so quiet. And I hate talking about comparing eras, but the way the NBA is now, you can say anything you want to say. Um, Nothing's really gonna happen. Parsons 79 says Lonnie Shelton. I forgot about Lonnie Shelton. Wow, that's a name from the past. Um, John Walker says Keith David in Day Live was funny, cool. Keith David is great in everything. He was great in Something About Mary. One of my favorite horror movies ever, The Thing, which still creeps me out to this day. It came out in 1982 and it still creeps me out. Um, he was great in that too. Brooklyn Geek, what up? Says finally caught y'all on a Friday. Yes. This Friday is random. I'm gonna try to do 8. I might jump on at 9. I might jump on at 7. Friday is mad random. Sydney Rose says Buck Williams. Big up to Buck Williams. His name was retired by the Nets. Um, why did my live just get darker? Did something just happen on here? I don't know, but the screen just got darker. Okay, I'm gonna move on, but I don't know what just happened. Um, MK Ultra said everyone is entitled to my opinion. Absolutely. We respect all opinions on this channel, man. If you got an opinion, come with it, even if it's not a popular one. Um, let's see. Nev Edificial says, Yo, KP, what do you think are some underrated artist groups from the 90s that don't get talked about as much as they should? Personally love the Beatnuts. I love the Beatnuts too. Underrated. See, that's a tough word for me because underrated to me means they should be ranked higher than they are. And some people are ranked about where they should be. Let's say underrated groups that's not talked about as much as they should. Now the Beatnuts on that level, I would put the Alcoholics. I like a few of the Alcoholics records. They don't get mentioned that much as they should. Um, I don't know if hieroglyphics get mentioned as much as they should. I'm gonna mention King T too. I used to like King T too. On the West Coast, I liked MC8 on the West Coast. I like that style. Gia. um, I bet you there's a few Far Side type of group. Um, Off the top of my head, yeah. I mean, we talk a lot about boot camp clique, I'd imagine, but I think they were a dope clique. Don't get mentioned as much. I used to really like Strang Wonder. That's my dude. Shout out to Strang wherever you are. That's my dude. I really liked his flow. Um, I'd have to think about that. That's a great question. Oh, Engaged says, Kenny, I got to have dinner with Dr. J and his wife. One of the greatest moments I got to share to Dr. J. I saw one of his last games before retirement. That's dope. That's real dope to be in the same room with the doctor. The first, I don't want to say the first, but he might be the first. Well, really big, superstar. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain was a huge star. Kareem, but Doctor, all right, I'm not gonna say he was the first, but he was a major. He was a real superstar, face of the league type player. I hate that term, face of the league too. Hate that. Um, but yeah, let's see. Somebody brought up Tom Chambers. Mark G, KP, you get to do Stop the Violence with no disrespect to any of the previous rappers. Who would you put that production if you had to say on it? Who would I put on that production? I would, oh, I wouldn't diss. Back then, you mean, do you mean self-destruction? When you said to stop the violence, you mean self-destruction? I mean, the people were on there, the Rakim, I would have definitely had on the record, for sure. There's a lot of controversy behind that record about who was on and who wasn't and the reason why they wasn't. I'm waiting for when Chris comes on this channel, whenever that is, to answer that question officially. Um, let's see. Rosmel says the invention of the internet was the best thing that ever happened to racists and trolls. Absolutely. Now they can say whatever they want without worrying about getting their teeth knocked out. Absolutely. Um, the comment section has brought out the worst in people. And I think, A, nobody on social media should be anonymous. Um, I think if you come on social media, your real name should be on there so everybody can know who you are. So when you say things, we can know exactly who you are. I think if everyone's real name was on social media, a lot of this nonsense would stop. Um, Secondly, back in the day, I need an echo chamber with that. You had to really do something special to get your opinion heard beyond your block or your immediate friends. Um, if you had an opinion or you had something to say, or you thought something, if you could tell as many people as you like, that your opinion wouldn't get past 20, 30 people unless you did something special, unless you were on television, some celebrity or writer, unless you did something to get in mass media, television or radio or on the newspaper, your opinion did not go that far. But now anyone can have an opinion about anything. And it could be seen by thousands, sometimes millions of people. And you have people disrespecting self-made millionaires on social media, talking about what they would have done. This person is that, and that person is that. Well, if it was so easy, why didn't you do it? If you got so much to say about a celebrity, why don't you do it? If it's that easy, everybody's opinion should not be heard by the world. That's my opinion. We'll see. Patrick Wise says Terry Cummings was quiet but not to be messed with. Yes. Do y'all remember Calvin Murphy? He was one of the first great short players. I think he was 5'11". Was a trained boxer. They said Calvin Murphy would tear people up. You run up on Calvin Murphy thinking it was sweet, and 5'11" Calvin Murphy was demolishing dudes. I'm digging out a name from the past. I'm really digging out a name. Um, Benny Doe, we're really digging deep. Benny Doe says Xavier McDaniel was only one of two players to lead the NCAA in both scoring and rebounding. The other was the great Hank Gathers. Yes, rest in peace to Hank Gathers. Um, yeah, man. Silent Someone says The Thing. Yes, y'all remember The Thing? That's one of the scariest movies ever. Ever. Um, Brooklyn Geek says Keith David is amazing. I hated him in Dead Presidents, though. I loved him in Dead Presidents. P-Pause. Thank you so much. I just finished your book. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. He said it was fire. My brother wants to read my copy. Hell to the no. Now, I want him a copy of his own. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's dope. You letting books, it's over. Patrick Wise says Bo King pissed me off. Yes, he did. Bo King pissed me off in that movie. Absolutely, he did. I don't want to give it away for those who haven't seen him. I mean, the movie's 30 years old, but um, he ended up ratting on everybody, man. And my man also, there's a few suckers in that movie because Cuddy was a sucker. And what's my man, light skinned dude that got beat with the pool stick? Oh my goodness. I can't believe these people's names be slipping my mind. That was his first movie too. He ended up being an Iron Man. Big movie star. I can't, what is his name? Light skinned dude. Somebody help me out. He got beat with the pool stick for talking shit. I think he's blacklisted from movies now anyway. CMC says Showbiz and AG. Underrated. Yeah. Mystic says Tretch is ridiculously underrated. I mean, he's multi-platinum artist. But as far as people talking about great MCs of the era, I think he's not mentioned enough. Um, as far as the world loved his music though. Main Source. Shout out to Large Pro. Silent Summer says the Nons. Haven't heard that name in forever. The Organisms. Brooklyn Geek says I toured with the Beatnuts and they have great stories. Get them on the channel. I really should, man. Shout out to Psycho Les. I really should. I think I have a number too. MMA says Moni Love. That's my girl. Shout out to Moni Love. Um, I see Dell, Funky Homo Sapien. Um, Kennard Roberts, KP, would you consider Ron Artest a fighter in his time? Well, he had the Malice in the Palace. He was definitely tough, one of the toughest ever. And if you recall, in the Malice in the Palace, the reason why Ron Artest was laying on the scores table and got hit with the beer was because he had just gotten a fight with Ben Wallace, another person that dudes don't want it with. And Ben Wallace kind of clocked Ron Artest, kind of gave him like a two-hand shove swing, something like that, and they broke it up. And while the reps was settling everything down, that's when somebody threw the beer at Ron Artest. That has to be the wildest scene in the history of, maybe of all of sports, definitely in the NBA. And his man Steven Jackson represented too. Went right up there, lost millions. Big up to Meta World Peace. Big up to Queensbridge. Let's see. Kachimano, Mano says, Strang is like the Inspector Deck of BBC. Yes, he is. Absolutely. And I love Inspector Deck too, by the way. Yes, he is. Onyx deserves way more recognition. I mean, they went platinum. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they're underrated. They sold millions. Lords of the Underground. Shout out to the Lords. Do It All, Mr. Funky Man, Lord Jazz. Shout out to them. That's the homies. We did a few shows with them. CMC's technique says smooth the hustler, trigger the gambler. Yeah, yo. That don't. That record was so ridiculous. Shout out to DR Period for making two of the hardest beats of all time. Actually, for making three of the hardest beats of all time. The Smooth the Hustler record, of course, MOP, Annie Up, and How About Some Hardcore. DR Period was dope. Is dope. Am I falling behind, y'all? Let's see. Firebird Phoenix, ain't see you in a while. What's up? Salute says happy Friday. Yes, for those that's just checking in, this is the DJ Kenny Parker Show Friday special edition. Normally we come on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we're gonna do some Fridays, the summer Fridays. We just talk about whatever on this channel, hip hop, sports, whatever y'all want to talk about. We just get it in. Big up to the Rewind crew. Lakim Shabazz, that's my man. Pure Righteousness was banging. Shout out to 45 King too, by the way. I've mentioned him a lot on this channel. Now that's an underrated producer. Patrick White, KP, what was the first rap jam you went to and who performed? Or you gotta say outside of KRS. The first rap jam I went to was Boogie Down Productions at Union Square, 1986, doing their smash hit, South Bronx. First, and I think I saw them. First artist I think I saw perform that was not BDP. I saw Masters of Ceremony perform with BDP, I think the second time I went to Union Square. Remember they had the song Cracked Out. Shout out to Grand Poobah. They opened up for BDP, and that's the first rap group I saw that had a record out other than BDP. And then I saw the Audio 2 at Latin Quarters. Shout out to Milk and Giz. I saw the Audio 2 at Latin Quarters. That was crazy. That record was on fire. Milk is chilling. Um, a big jam, I would have to say the first one I went to is the Dope Jam tour. Please get the book; it's all in there. Um, yeah. MMA Crossfire, Calvin Murphy versus Patrick Beverly, 12 rounds. That would be great. I don't know if Patrick, I don't know. I think Patrick Beverly is a lot of bark. I would like some of these dudes in today's game, I would like to see them really get into it for me to say um, what they're really all about. It's so easy to talk trash these days. Little dudes could talk trash to a 7-footer, ain't nothing gonna happen. Back in the day, Charles Barkley fought Shaq. It's crazy. Red, what up? Says Alex English. I saw Alex English in a restaurant in South Carolina in the 90s. This is after he retired. BDP, we was on the road and we stopped in South Carolina to go to like it was almost like a Waffle House. And Alex English was walking past, and I was like, "Oh, Alex English." I recognized him instantly. I think he is from South Carolina. MK Ultra said, "Would love to hear your opinion on Earl Manigault." You know, it's funny. Back in the day, echo, 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 the greatest players were all not in the NBA. Today, I would consider the best players in the world. There's no surprises in the world now. Between scouts and leagues and the internet, all the good basketball players, starting from when you're a child, are being watched. There's nobody, not nobody, but it's very hard for a player that's great, an NBA caliber player, to fall under the radar in today's standards. It's not possible. Back in the day, though, when there was only like 15 teams and society was more stricter, like you had to go to college, and you had to go to a certain college, and you had to be in the system. Certain great street legends did not make it to the league. The helicopters and Earl Manigault was considered great. Some of these names I'm forgetting. Um, Pee Wee Kirkland, who had a deal with I think the Celtics, but turned it down because he was making more money in the streets selling product than he would have made in the NBA. Um, and they said some that back in the day, them NBA players used to go to the Rucker Park, and a lot of them got their asses handed to them um, by some of the street players in the park. I mean, if you look at by today's standards, or even the 2000s, a player like Allen Iverson. Remember, Allen Iverson got in trouble in high school, and he did some time in jail. And Allen Iverson was one of the top basketball and football players in the country, and no college would touch him because of the brawl that he got into. I think they saying he wasn't even part of the brawl, or he wasn't the one who threw the chair, but he's the one that went to jail for it. John Thompson, the late great John Thompson of Georgetown, took a chance on Allen Iverson, and that's why we know him today. By back in the day standards, a guy like Allen Iverson would have never made the NBA. So he would have been a park player. And you would have been went to Rucker Park as like a Nick guard or, a Nets or somebody 76ers, and you would have ran into some guy named the Answer. And he would have been in the park. Can you imagine Allen Iverson with that crossover, with no ref calling carry, with his energy and ability in the park with no scouting report and a whole crowd around him, and you're an NBA player? He would have gave you 60 quick. Um, That's where those kind of guys like a Earl Manigault, for whatever reason, I think it was drugs, I'm not sure, um, stopped a lot of these guys from having their day in the pros. And it's sad. I mean, life happens, but by today's standards, you could do just about anything and still get a shot in the pros. But big up to Earl Manigault and some of the guys who were great that never made it to the league, but gave it to dudes in the park. Um, Charles 13X says, Kenny, you watched the movie Sinners? Not yet, but I'm going to see it this week. Please don't spoil it for me. It's getting a lot of buzz, so I want to check that out. MMA says Earl Boykins was at 5'4". You remember Earl Boykins? Yo, Earl Boykins used to get hot against the Knicks. He gave you the quickest 18-point quarter you would ever see. He was 5'4". If he got hot, he was unguardable. Um, Ian says, hi, Kenny. I was listening to Sex and Violence last few days. My top 3 songs on the album are Duck Down, How Not to Get Jerked, and Rough Rough. What are your top 3? I did a whole breakdown on the Sex and Violence album on this channel. I did it about a year and a half ago. Go back. I did a whole breakdown of the stuff I produced and the whole story behind that album. Please check it out. You'll get my opinions on everything. Is it time for the Benny Doyle scroll down? Yes, Rosmel says Terrence Howard. Damn, how can I could not get Terrence Howard's name. Terrence Howard. That was his first movie, Dead Presidents. He got on my nerves in that movie. He was a sucker. Charles 13X said the dude that smashed the Wednesday's wife was super disrespectful. Him, Cuddy. Cuddy was one of the most disrespectful dudes of that time. First of all, shout out to that actor. I don't know his name. I think he is the greatest villain in black cinema history. He was a sucker in Dead Presidents. He stole money from Ray Charles. He's the one in Menace to Society that turned into tape that got Old Dog and them in trouble. There's a few other movies. I can't even think. Every movie, he's one of the greatest villains in the history of black cinema. Now, I don't know this dude's name. Somebody help me out. But Cuddy from Dead Presidents is a sucker. He's great in every movie as a sucker. He's the greatest to ever do it. Look at these opinions. Mark G says K Solo underrated, right? Charles 13X says K Solo is not underrated. So which one is it? Shout out to my man K to the S to the OLO. Both opinions are welcome here. I respect both opinions. Patrick Wise says, KP, you ever heard of Tony Barnes, a rapper from the UK? No. My Eagle Wolf says, Benny O says, you remember the LSU game when we're talking about Hank Gathers. Hank Gathers is a sad story. Sad, sad story. Patrick Wise says, Artest was scared of Ben Wallace. It looked like he really didn't want it. I'm not sure. That would have been first of all, if those two guys fight, ain't nobody breaking that up. No refs getting in the middle. That's how you know dudes don't really want it in the NBA. Dudes be like, two dudes 6'10", 250, about to fight, and a 5'8" ref get in between them and break it up. Like, they don't really want to fight. But yeah, I'm not gonna say Ron Artest was scared of Ben Wallace, but it looked like he didn't really want it at that moment. Ben Wallace wanted it all. I'm not sure though. Love to have Meta World on the show. Is he still Meta World Peace? Um, Corey Fletch says, Kenny, you should just record interviews with guests separate from the live Tuesday show. Yeah, I mean, I could. Um, I could do that. Um, but now I want to get some viewer comments mixed in. So I like the live feel. I kind of like it. I kind of like the live feel of it. But yeah, I could. If I have a guest who can only come in on a certain day, then I'll do it. Now here's an underrated name. Andrew Toney, the Boston Strangler. I'm saying Boston on this channel. I know it's Boston. Boston. I'm saying Boston, New York. Andrew Toney, before I think he blew out his knee, was an incredible scorer. The Boston Strangler. Let's see. Yeah, somebody just called him the Boston Strangler. Yep. That dude was ridiculous. MMA says, yes, Ben, the man Danny Ainge said he feared more than Michael Jordan. I can imagine so. He gave it to him more than Jordan. Andrew Toney with them high socks. His socks used to be all the way up to his knees. Um, let's see. I'm falling behind. Patrick White, massive ceremony. Big up to Don Barron. Yes. Diddly 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 grand poobah. Sexy was banging. But this was before Sexy. It was Cracked Out was their single. Um, I see dilated pupils. Got to make a movie about your book. Word, that would be really dope. Um, Napoleon and Rag said he ain't wanted with Ben Wallace. He chased the fan instead. He had to get that energy out somewhere, right? I'm not going to disrespect and say he didn't want it with Ben Wallace. It just looked at from the video. I mean, Ben Wallace was the one he had the beef with, but he just laid on the table. B-Boy Jones says they rank third graders now. That's terrible. That's just terrible. But yeah, um, it's very hard not to be. Um, it's very hard not to be noticed. Now to fall in the cracks, very hard. Um, Rosmel says, Kenny, what about the time when Shaq mushed Barkley and Barkley threw the ball at Shaq's head? Shaq then tackled him. Yeah. Well, Shaq threw a punch, I think. I think Barkley threw a punch, then Shaq threw a punch. If that punch Shaq threw had landed, woo! Charles Oakley says he slapped Charles Barkley over some money. I find that, I mean, I'm not going to say he's lying, but he just slapped him and that was it? Because Barkley was ready to go at all times. I know so was Oakley, but he said he slapped Charles Barkley. John Lee says Pee Wee Kirkland was a fool for that. NBA money was always better than street money. But back in those days, you're talking late 60s, early 70s. These dudes were making millions on the streets. You was getting a few thousands in the NBA. He could have made more in the streets in 1 year than he could have made in his whole NBA career. But I still say um, he should have chose an honest living. Easy for me to say, but yeah, There's somebody else too who I think could have been in the league but didn't accept it. Um, AI was a phenomenal quarterback as well. Yeah, I heard he was better as a quarterback than he was as a basketball player. Um, Because I remember Cat said they were low key scared of the Chief because he was strong as an ox and could throw hands. Robert Parrish looked like one of them dudes that didn't say much, but when you got him mad, it was on. Kareem punched a few people. Didn't he break his hand punching Kent Benson in the face after Kent Benson elbowed him? Jabbar throw hands too. Patrick Wise says even Lloyd Daniels got a shot. Yeah, after all Lloyd Daniels been through, um, he got a shot. I have a crazy Lloyd Daniels story. I should do a Lloyd Daniels epic fails if you guys want to hear it. I was gonna put it in the book, but I took it out. These days you could do a lot of things and get away with it, man. Patrick Wise says Cuddy was the man. Clifford Powell, that's his name. Thank you, y'all. I see it now. I am behind. Clifford Powell is the greatest villain in the history of black cinema. I challenge somebody to find a bigger sucker than him. And I just named three examples. There's more. Every time you see this dude, he's going out, man. Yeah, Clifford Powell is his name. Thank you, y'all. Could not get his name. Um, he's a sucker. Danny Bias is the saddest story probably in NBA history, right? We had an hour and 12, y'all. Sheesh. We just on here. I'm just on here running our mouths. I'm on here running my mouth. Let's see. Corey Flood says Carmelo Anthony infamously backpedaled when confronted by Nate Robinson. Nate, that little strong Nate. Carmelo's big too, but Nate looked like he might have wanted it. Remember when Chris Childs two-pieced Kobe? Weird said, what coach did Latrell Sprewell choke out again? PJ Carlissimo, former coach of Seton Hall. Um, let's see. MMA says Chuck Daly underrated. Big up to Chuck Daly. He won 2 championships. I believe he won Olympics too. Corey says, Kenny, but when you have guests, you busy with the guests. Guy, you don't even get to talk to the audience. So yeah, just record interviews and we could talk about it on Tuesday. Yeah, you're right. But I should talk to I should get more audience questions in when they're live. I just be having my own questions and things I want to get off um, my chest, and I should do a better job of incorporating live conversation. But I can see your point though. Um, my ego was his Otis Thorpe and Kevin Willis. Yeah, there was some bruisers back in the day. Um, Patrick Wise says, I remember when Stephon Marbury was ranked as the best sixth grader. Crazy. That's crazy. Leave them kids alone. That puts a lot of pressure on a kid, man. Because let's say you're the rank the best sixth grader and you're getting all that hype. And then by eighth grade, you're now number 4. How does that affect a kid? Or you get to high school, you're in the eighth grade and everybody's hyping, you get to high school and it doesn't work out. You're a failure. You're 15, 16, and you're a bust. That's not good, man. B-Boy Jones says Greg Popovich retired today. I saw that he moved to the front office. I believe he's president. Great, great Hall of Fame coach, great outspoken man on social issues. Big up to Greg Popovich, first ballot Hall of Famer. Um, Gregory Netta says 909 in my Kenny Parker voice. And I'm seeing this at 9:15, so I'm seeing this at 9:19. We're gonna do a little while longer and I'm gonna jump off, y'all. Um oh, Patrick Wise says Robert Parrish was a black belt. Did not know that. Kareem studied under Bruce Lee, for real, for real. Darrell Walker was a scrappy guard for the Knicks. Corey Fletch says, do white guys in the NBA fight? I've never heard of two white guys fighting in the NBA. Hockey, yes. Basketball, no. I saw Larry Bird fight Bill Laimbeer twice. Larry Bird wanted to kill him, too. That's the only two white guys I ever seen fight. Larry Bird would throw hands in a minute, and Bill Laimbeer. Corey Fletch says Clifton Powell was also on TV's Rock as Andre the drug dealer. I didn't see that, but I bet you he did some shady shit. John Lee says, I heard Len Bias would have been better than Jordan, real talk. I don't know. I mean, he had the talent, but then again, there's always been a lot of the next Michael Jordans are better than Michael Jordans. And some of them were good, but never really reached his level, obviously. And some of them fizzled out. I mean, a lot of things would have to happen to get to that level, but if they're saying if there was ever a surefire athlete, Len Bias was the guy. Even though, what was that center who went number 1 in the draft the year that Kevin Durant went 2? He was going to be the next great center. Oh my goodness, how can I forget this dude's name? And then they picked Kevin Durant too, and everybody was saying it's a no-brainer. Then he got hurt. He was going to be the next one, and it didn't happen. Joey Joe says it's 98 people watching, but only 34 hit the like button. Come on, hit that like button. Please, yes. Thank you so much for hitting the like button. Clifton Powell played the evil drug dealer Andre on the TV show The Rock. The performance of Charles S. Dutton about to choke him out in the family living room was epic. I tell you, I didn't even see this, but I'm telling you, if Clifton Powell is in it, he's a sucker, man. He's great though. He really captures the villain role excellent. I'm saying he's the greatest to ever do it. He's the GOAT of villains in black movies, man. Gregory Ness says Daryl Dawkins was a funny man, but he was no joke. Not at all. He had a bunch of aliases too. I mean, Chocolate Thunder was the one that everybody landed on, but he had a bunch. Benny Doyle says Len Bias might have been what Jordan actually was. He might have been. That Celtics team took a real hit, man, because Reggie Lewis was balling out too. And he, I believe, had the same problem as Hank Gathers, and he passed. That team had some bad. Yeah. Greg Oden was his name. Greg Oden was going to be the next one. Remember? Over Kevin Durant. So, yeah, I mean, potential is one thing. Gregory Nelson says Clifton Powell was a comedy hype. He said he never wanted to be an actor. Word? He's so great at it, man. Greg Oden was already hurt in college before being drafted, but he was considered a once in a lifetime talent. Yes, he was. Yep. He was considered a once in a like a franchise changing player until he wasn't. His point guard, the left hand dude from that just played in for Minnesota. My name recognition is these days sucks, man. The left hand dude that plays for the point guard for Minnesota Timberwolves, left hand, played in college with Greg Oden. If I told you he would have had played 10 times more years than Greg Oden, you would have said that's impossible. Anthony Bennett is the worst number one draft pick in NBA history. Possibly. I would like to see who else was in that trade. I mean, who else was in that draft? Um, you know, Benoit Benjamin. You remember him? Did drugs hurt him though? Was that back in the NBA drug era? Um, R. Justice says I was watching baseball and forgot about the DJ Kenny Parker show. Come on, Rod Justice. Come on. I know we're not every Friday, but we've been here a few Fridays in a row. Come on. Um, Thank you, Mike Connolly. Damn. Rick says Sam Bowie is one of the most disappointing. I think he's one of the most disappointing picks ever. He was a great big man in college, man. And I know he wish he never got picked over Jordan. That he'll never live that down. All right, I'm gonna wind down. LaRue Martin was the worst number one in history. He started the Blazers jink. I don't even remember that name. Imagine that. All right, I'm at the bottom, y'all. Benny Gill says, remember Chris Washburn checking into the next game with his shoes untied? I think drugs got him too. Drugs got a lot of people, man. Drugs got a lot of people. I'm gonna leave it on this. Anyway, peace. Definitely Tuesday. Definitely Tuesday, 8 p.m. We're gonna jump on. Um, you guys have a great weekend. Big up to the Rewind crew. Um, don't forget to hit the like button, please. And yeah, this has been fun. We talked a lot of basketball today. I might do I might do my epic fails, Lloyd Daniels. I have an epic fails Pearl Washington in this book too. Um, Another one that should have been great. Um, but I think I'm gonna do an epic fails, Lloyd Daniels. This is a funny story too. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll catch you guys on Tuesday, God willing. Okay, y'all. Peace and love, man.